What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to NFL Turf Talk here on DSM Media's Turf Talk YouTube channel. Week 12 kickoff show is underway. I'm one half of your host, Dylan Davis. To my left, my faithful co-host, Scotty. Guys, if you are new to the channel, if you like the content, if you want to be interactive, make sure to smash that subscribe button. It is the best spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up here on the screen with your host, my man. 10 games of action, plus some Eagles, Bills we're going to get into. We're going to start with our weekly Pick'em segment, but a lot to discuss here. Obviously, coming off of 4 games from Thursday, from Thanksgiving Day, as well as a game on Black Friday that we will be breaking down later on in the week. But how are you doing on this Sunday morning?
I am doing very well, my man. Obviously, Thanksgiving is over at this point, but newsflash, we have
It's yet to begin. But it's yet to begin for us here.
It's yet to begin because we're recording this fairly early. But nonetheless, got to get the content out to you guys, and hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving. Hope you got some great finds on Black Friday. And I will be out of commission this Sunday. That's why we had to film it a little bit early.
You will.
And I'll be down at the link for the Bills and Eagles.
Little Kelly Green action going on.
Kelly Green shit, man. That's why I had to throw the jersey on, the 50th anniversary jersey. Brent Selleck.
I thought you were just doing a good job of pretending it was Sunday, you know? I'm over here in the same shirt for 3 straight shows on 3 different days. People are going to be like, dude, do some laundry.
I thought about it, but then I was like, our listeners don't care what we're wearing. They just like what we're hearing, what we're saying.
Sure. Yeah. Just love our voices. Right. But anyway, man, let's start this week 12 kickoff show with our weekly pick'em segment. If you guys are new to the channel, basically what me and Scotty do is we keep record. There's 10 games we're going to pick between. We're going to do a little snake draft. I go first this week. So back and forth between the games, we obviously start and think that are our favorites and work our ways down to the more difficult ones. My first overall pick is going to be a team that our Eagles just took care of on Monday Night Football. I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs on the road against the Las Vegas Raiders this Sunday. The Chiefs coming in, opening at 8.5-point favorites. Obviously, there are question marks all across the board with their wide receiver and their skill position groups. And can they hold on to the ball? Timely penalties. The bottom line is this is still the best team in the AFC. This is still the best quarterback in the world. It's the best head coach. It's the best tight end, so on and so forth. This is a Vegas team that won 2 straight after firing their head coach. However, they were brought back down to earth, held to 13 points against that Miami Dolphins team last week. This is a much different beast, much different defense you're going against this week. I like the Chiefs to win big here in a bounce back spot.
Yeah, obviously we have to expect the Chiefs to bounce back, win a game this week, coming off the loss, right? The 3rd loss of the season for the Kansas City Chiefs. They lost to the Broncos, Lions, and now they get the Raiders. This is a nice bounce back game for them, bounce back opportunity that they get coming out of a tough game, and it's one of the easier games left on their schedule. So you got to take advantage, beat the Raiders. They're going nowhere. 9-point favorites. I agree with you wholeheartedly there. Kansas City's going to take that one, even on the road. So where am I going next?
I'm going to be honest with you, man. This is a tough slate.
Yeah, it is, man. It's like I don't know if there is a good route for me to go here.
It's not a pretty slate. Like, there's not a lot of great matchups that we can look forward to, but there's just tough matchups. There's very evenly matched teams. There's divisional games. There's bad teams playing bad teams that you don't want to pick.
Man, you know where I'm going to go? I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens against those choker Chargers, man. Yeah. I am. I'm going to have to go with the Baltimore Ravens.
The AFC off the board.
The AFC's getting tight, right? And so every game's going to matter. And so against a 4-6 Chargers team that feels like they're going nowhere, the Ravens need to take advantage, go out here and win this game. So I will go with the Ravens over the Chargers, although that is not a given by any means.
No, I agree, man. This is a tough slate to look at here. My goodness, the 2 best teams in the AFC are knocked off our pick. Dear God, I don't know where I want to go here.
Yeah, it's like you just kind of have to go with your biases. You know what I mean? Like if I have like any biases in here, you just have to go with them. Like, I guess my agenda, right? My agenda is going to show
Yeah,
in this
absolutely. You
episode.
know what, man? This is going to pain me to say because we just torched this kid and this team on Wednesday's episode, but with no Joe Burrow and that defense that Pittsburgh can still roll out, new OC this week, new play caller in place of Matt Canada. Give me the Steelers in what I don't think is a bounce back week in terms of offense, but give me the Steelers in a very similar style of football they just played against the Browns, and they win 13-10 this time around. Yeah, I'll trust that defense against the backup in Cincinnati. Their season's cooked. Why not in terms of all these games? I don't know.
That one's interesting. Yeah, Pittsburgh, man. That is definitely a toss-up for me. Obviously, I'm not going to put any money on Jake Browning to come out here and get it done against the good Steelers defense. But yeah, I definitely get the pick nonetheless. The Bengals seem to be finished for my money. So we'll see how that plays out. Nonetheless, my next pick.
Yeah. We might as well just throw darts blindfolded at this screen right now because I mean this is pick number 2. Like this is not pick number 4 or
5. This never goes like this, but I am going to go. I'm going to go with the Titans over the Panthers, man. Although I do feel like, the Panthers, if they're not going to only win one game this season, this is a game that they could win. That's the best way I can put it. But I'll go with the favorites in this one.
Oh, Will Levis, Derrick Henry
in Tennessee, right? It's in Tennessee, so I'll give it the nod
it's
there.
A fair pick, man. I like it. For my third overall pick, you know what? I'm going to ride the wave, and they're actual underdogs, which I think is preposterous. Give me CJ Stroud coming off of a 3-turnover game, a 3-interception game, I should say. Give me him at home over division rival and who they're fighting that one spot for in the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think in Texas, in Houston this time around, that defense will show up. I think that Trevor Lawrence will struggle a little bit in this one. I think CJ Stroud protects the football in this one. Give me the Texans in the home dogs in this matchup.
I do like the pick, man. That's definitely who I would go with in this matchup. I was a little hesitant to make that pick just because I do think this is
there's a lot of stock in that game.
The Jags. Yeah, it's a big spot for them to prove their worth. It's not to say that, they win this game and take care of their division, that they're going to be up there with the contenders of the world, but to separate yourself.
But stop beating nobodies. Yeah, stop beating nobodies.
Exactly.
To people.
Exactly. This would be a great W for the Jags as well. But I do agree. I do like the Texans at home. My next pick is going to be
long drum roll, please.
Let me go with the Pats against the Chiefs.
Oh my goodness. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was leaning the same way that I would have taken the Patriots if I had to.
Bill Belichick versus Tommy DeVito.
Yeah.
That's my reasoning.
Yeah, and then what's Bill rolling out? Bailey Zappi? Is that where they're going?
Right. This is gonna be the mid-off
2-8 versus 3-8. My goodness. And I will say one thing to the TV broadcast. That game's on Fox, and now I'm going to be watching Red Zone most likely anyway because the Eagles don't play till 4:30. You're going to be down there tailgating, so it doesn't concern you really. But for me, if they decide to put the Giants and Patriots on Fox in our area, I mean, let me just punch myself in the face.
Shouldn't put it on in anybody's area.
No,
let's be honest.
No. Should be blacked out everywhere.
Shouldn't even be played locally.
I mean, I think you need to be blackout drunk to watch that game. So.
Probably still would
black out that one. Okay. My fourth overall pick, second to last. This one's difficult, man. I mean, these two teams have both underachieved. Give me the team that I think is going to end up winning the NFC South division and give me the New Orleans Saints and Derek Carr in this one. On the road, they're 1-point underdogs. Whether it's Taylor Heineke or if they're going back to Desmond, I don't know what Atlanta's plan is. I don't trust their offense whatsoever. I like the Saints defense a little bit more. I'm looking for Derek Carr. He hasn't been bad, man. 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, over 2,200 passing yards. They're 500. Like, he's just been the epitome of average, and I need him to be above average for this team to go and get the win on Sunday. But I think they will. I think that the Saints will come away with a win here.
Yeah, Saints coming off a bye, it looks like.
I think both teams are.
Interesting. Yeah. I was just looking at the Falcons. I saw they lost their last 3, and the Saints lost their last one against the Vikings. So yeah, I look at this as a good bounce back spot for the Saints. And it's an important game, as you mentioned, against a Falcons team that just really can't figure out what they're doing at the quarterback position.
Right.
They went back and forth with Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke already in like 3 different weeks, and that's never a good place to be if you're dealing with quarterbacks at that level. So I'll take the Saints, even though it is in Atlanta. I usually would lean towards the home team, but I do think the Saints are the better overall roster.
Agreed.
And hopefully we start. I won't say hopefully.
I think this is the week where the New Orleans Saints needs to put their stamp on the division. I think that's what this is. When you look at this division, the Panthers have 1 win; they have no shot. The Bucks, you thought with Baker we're looking better. They're 4-6 now. The Falcons, they're under 500. They've lost 3 straight. The Saints sitting at 500. You do have the best quarterback in the division, even though he hasn't played like it week in and week out. You have the best defense in the division, most likely. Go and get a road win like you should. You're the more talented team, and put your stamp on the NFC South division, and I hope they do so.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. My next pick, man, it's gonna be an upset regardless, based on the spreads between the 2 games I'm on right now. Let's see. Who do I trust? I'll take the Rams. I'll take the Rams over the Cards in Arizona. Rams coming off a big W this past week against the Seattle Seahawks in division game. They get another one in Arizona. Now, Kyler Murray will get his second start in this one. Kind of evens the playing field a little bit there for both of these teams. And maybe down the stretch, we see the Cardinals show a little bit of life with Kyler Murray. Who knows? But I'm going to go with the Rams here. Matthew Stafford he took a huge hit last week. Is he even healthy? Yeah. First of all, but nonetheless, they got Carson Wentz out there backing him up. And I'll go with the Rams. Just more offensive talent, more ability to put the ball in the end zone, and that's where my focus goes here. I am interested, though. I know Cooper Kupp went out of that game last week. Is he out, or is he back?
That is something to keep an eye on. We're probably not going to know yet. Obviously, like we said. Yeah,
I'll still go with the Rams. I'll still go with the Rams, though. Nonetheless, even on the road against a bad Arizona team, Arizona does play teams tough, though. I will give them that.
My 5th and final pick, man. We gave props to both of these teams on Wednesday's show, but I'm going to talk my talk, and I'm going to back it up with the Cleveland Browns going to Denver and getting a win over Russell Wilson and the Broncos. Both of these teams are very similar. They're built on their defenses. Obviously, Russ has played pretty well this year compared to the standard he set in Denver last year. They're 5-5 now. They're on a little bit of a winning streak. You look at the Browns team that we praised and talked about. That defense, they're able to run the ball. DTR doesn't have to do too much. This is a game where, it feels like you kind of want to favor the home team when both defenses are really good. And I'm not taking anything away from Denver's defense. I think the Browns are a little bit more ferocious. I think they're more physical. I think they're more intimidating. I think that this is a game where Russell Wilson really will get beat up a little bit behind that offensive line and maybe turn the ball over. I like the Browns to win a low-scoring game. Not 13-10. I think it'll be a little bit high-scoring than that, but maybe the Browns win 20-17, 17-13, something like that. Give me the Browns defense and their ability to run the ball.
I do like the pick. Obviously, the Browns, for my money, have the better defense out of the 2. It is in Denver. That's what throws me off a little bit there. Russell Wilson playing some good ball. They've won 4 straight, but What that may mean, it might be time for them to,
for a little
lose
loss.
a game
Yeah.
as well. But I guess same could be said for the Cleveland Browns. They're coming off two
Yeah.
big wins in division as well. So big matchup overall, I think, towards both of these teams trying to make the playoffs. This is a game that both of these teams needs, because I don't think either of these teams, definitely not the Broncos, but I don't think the Browns are going to end up winning their division either. So it's going to come down to the wild card, and it's going to come down to, matchups and who won this game, who won that game, and who beat this opponent. So it is a huge game. That's why the spread is where it is. But yeah, I do get it with Cleveland. I don't know, man. I guess I don't have to make a pick in the game, so I'm not going to, because I don't know who I would pick in this game, man. Honestly, it is a good matchup. It's
a great matchup, I think. In terms of, if you're looking for flashiness, if you're looking for high scoring, this is not a fun matchup. This is not a fun football game to watch. Yeah. But I think it's a perfect matchup in terms of no. But we talked about the AFC playoff landscape and that picture, and do you really want to see either one of these defenses, in the first round in a wild card matchup with the way they've been playing? And I think the fact that you get them head to head this week, well, it'll really let us know which offense with their respective quarterback can step up to the plate more, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If the Browns are able to go and get the win, like I said, against that tough defense, I think it really lets you know that DTR can play this position for them and maybe win a playoff game. If Russell Wilson wins 5 straight against that defense, I think it lets you know that Russ can win them games, right? They're maybe not going to win because of Russell Wilson, but they're not losing because of Russell Wilson. So I think that's a pretty big difference in key right now for them. So we'll see how that plays out.
Which version of Russell Wilson do you get? Because I do think that could be the difference in the game. I think this is a game where Russell Wilson might have to win the game for them. So that'll be interesting to watch. That's definitely one of the better matchups on Sunday for sure. Last game here, we got the Bucs and the Colts. And I'm actually going to go with the team with the better record, the team that's at home, the Indianapolis Colts at 5-5, playing in Indy, coming off of 2 straight wins. On the other hand, you have the Buccaneers, who have lost 5 of their last 6. So they're reeling a good bit right now at 4-6 late in the season. And I expect that to continue. I expect that trend to kind of continue to go downhill and kind of spiral out, kind of how we were talking about the Commanders on Thursday. That's kind of how I feel about the Buccaneers as well. I feel like their time is kind of ending this season a little early, if that makes sense. But I'm going to go with the Colts at home. They've been kind of a surprising team to the way they've been competitive in games this year. They've been in games that I feel they really shouldn't have been. They've been, underdogs in games, have been able to stay in them and compete, make the games close.
The Colts have been like an outlier kind of team. Like
they have been.
Listen, we're speaking very highly of this Browns defense. The Colts scored like 38 or 39 on them.
Yeah, weird. 39-38 game against
the Colts went into Baltimore with Gardner Minshew and beat Lamar Jackson and the Ravens.
They beat the Texans.
Yeah, they have some weird wins and then just some mind-boggling losses when they play lesser teams than who they've beaten. So
it is interesting, man. If they could have gotten one of those games against the Jaguars, we could be talking about the Indianapolis Colts in a lot different fashion. Yeah. Gardner Minshew, man. He's been having a decent season.
Yeah, no, I mean, he couldn't. I mean, he can look like that in Indy, but for a 2-game, 3-game stretch, he couldn't look like that here and win a single game as a backup. Yeah, he loses to Andy Dalton and the New Orleans Saints last year.
Andy Dalton, man.
Whatever, bro. Whatever. Gardner's back, right? But with that said, speaking of the Eagles, the last little game we're going to talk about here, we're not going to dive too much into it because pregame live is still up in the air for this Sunday's matchup that you'll be at. But Bills coming to town. Eagles, Kelly Green Week, the last time they'll be sporting them this season. Eagles 9-1 coming off of a humongous victory on Monday Night Football to prove that they're the best team in the league, Scotty. When you're looking at this matchup, it's one of two things to me. I had a buddy of mine text me the other night and say, is it just me, or do you not really give a fuck about this matchup versus the Bills because of the win versus Kansas City? And then you're looking at San Fran and Dallas coming down the pipe right after them. But then there's the other part of the story where you did just beat the Chiefs. You do have those teams coming up. let's not lay a goose egg here against a Bills team that's struggling at the moment, coming to town with Josh Allen. Which way do you – obviously, we give a fuck about the game. We know that.
Yeah.
But how much stock do you have in this game? Like, if the Eagles were to lose on Sunday afternoon, does it really change any part of your outlook on them at all? Or is this a game where you say, you just can't go and lose this game now because of what you just did?
Yeah, I honestly think, well, one, what I'll say, this is a huge letdown spot for the Eagles after a huge win like that against the defending Super Bowl champions on a short week in Kansas City, going back to Philly. So there is that letdown opportunity, but I will say, like, while this game doesn't hold as much weight compared to, like, the 49ers Cowboys matchups coming up, even the Chiefs matchup this past weekend, it does hold some weight for me. And this is not a team that I want to see the Eagles lose to in the Buffalo Bills.
I damn sure don't want to see them lose to them.
Yeah, exactly. That would counteract a lot of what we've talked about on this show specifically about the Buffalo Bills. And so for the Eagles to, come back home, Kelly Green evening again, the last one of the season, you're in Philly, you're in the link, you got Josh Allen, a turnover machine coming into the building, and you're going to tell me that you're going to go out here and lay a goose egg before you go and play the 49ers the following week. I don't want to see it. I want to see us keep the momentum flowing. I want to see us come out and play some really good football. And quite honestly, I think that's the other thing. While I say it's a letdown moment, the Eagles, their offense specifically, did not look great against the Kansas City Chiefs. So I would love to see the offense come out and look great against the Buffalo Bills before we go into a matchup.
Right, a unit dealing with a lot of injuries, right? I think that's a big thing for me as well.
Like you got the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboy defenses that are coming up, two of the best in the NFL. Take advantage of playing the Buffalo Bills the week before.
I think it's a great way to look at it because they are 9-1, and a win is a win is a win. We know that. Trust me. And it's you can look at it in a positive manner when they keep winning these games with having the same offensive issues. But at what point can we put that to bed, or at least put it on the back burner for a couple weeks at a time? Not just so. I'm looking at this Bills game, like you said, you did struggle coming out. Like, man, you were missing Dallas Goedert, but you had 2 weeks to come up with a game plan against that defense. And that's the showing you put out, right? So I am looking for this offense to come out at home in that moment against the Bills defense that is hurt at the moment. They're beat up. So take advantage of it. And I need to see consistency from Brian Johnson, man. And what I mean by that is, there's going to be 3 and outs here and there, and there's going to be bad play calls and bad possessions. But it's not just consistency week to week. It's consistency for a half, throughout a game. Like, you can't have an opening drive, for instance, where you just play the script and you go right down the field and you go up 7-0, right? And then turn around the next 2 possessions and look like you have no idea what you're doing calling a game again.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to see flow throughout the offense, throughout the course of a game. Like I said, you're going to have 3 and outs. You're going to have mistakes. Sometimes execution isn't up to par. Sometimes defenses make big-time plays. All on the table, all valid. But I can't have 7 points in the first quarter and then not even reach the red zone for 2.5 quarters.
Yeah, and I would throw 2 other things back in there as well. Well, 3 things. So, one, Bills are coming off a W against the Jets, in which they did take care of the football. They did, beat this team by, multiple possessions in this game, right? And so there is that little wiggle room where it could be the Bills turning it around a little bit, right? Like, not saying that is what's happening, but if the Bills come into Philadelphia and beat the Philadelphia Eagles to give them their second loss of the season, it's happening, right? The Bills are turning it on. The Bills are turning around. Josh Allen is getting back to MVP level play. That is the type of stuff that we will have to listen to if they go out and they lose this game. Another thing, you look at these 4 games in a row, this gauntlet that we've been, talking about. This is the main part of it. The Chiefs, the Bills, the 49ers, and then the Cowboys. You look at the 4 games, which one of those 4 games is the most winnable?
Right.
It's the Bills.
Right.
You would expect to beat the Bills at home before you beat the Chiefs in Kansas City. I would expect us to beat the Bills before we beat 49ers in any game. I would expect us to beat the Bills before we beat the Cowboys in Dallas. So to that point, it's almost, I don't want to say it's a must win. You're 9-1. There's no such thing as a must win right now because you are in control. But for a 9-1 team, it's pretty close to it because you look at the Lions. It's not a must
win, but it's the one that we would look at where we sit back and scratch our head.
If you lose the 1 seed, that would be the game you look back on and say, well, because now you lose this game, it puts a ton more pressure on you against San Fran and then on to Dallas as well.
Right. Yeah.
Lions are right there.
The thing I will
say. How many more games are the Lions going to lose?
Correct. With that schedule, I don't know.
Yeah,
so
maybe
the thing that I will say, though, is this team, it's something we talked about on Faithful, where this team is so mentally tough, dude. Yeah. And I don't think there's a look-ahead spot. I don't think there's a letdown spot in their mindset. I think it starts with the head coach. I think it goes to the quarterback. I think it trickles to everybody, the veterans in the room. Kelsey, Lane, Fletch. I think they're just ready to go each and every week. Now, obviously, you had a letdown spot against the Jets, but again, like, no teams just don't go 17-0, man.
I don't think that was us overlooking the Jets either, man.
No, I think it was a very poorly executed game, right? And then the injuries, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this Bills game where I don't really fear that. The last thing I'll say before we wrap up this show is we talked about the offense, and that is the most important thing. I need to see this offense look on cue. Yes, you're still missing Dallas Goedert. There should be no reason that DeAndre Swift only touches the ball 10 or 11 times in this game. There should be no reason that Jalen Hurts throws for 150 yards and struggles in the first half, or A.J. Brown has 1 catch for 8 yards. Figure it out. Show some consistency. But defensively, man, if you guys watch NFL Turf Talk that we and Scotty do, you know my thoughts on Josh Allen. And so help me God, if this team allows Josh Allen to come to South Philly and torch them up and down the football field and not turn him over, I'm going to rip my hair out of my head because I've seen almost every other team do it. I've seen great defenses do it. I've seen mediocre defenses get to him. Man, you've held Patrick scoreless in the second half. You held Tua and company to 250 yards. Don't let this dude that I cannot stand come to town and pick us apart and protect the football. I can't deal with it, man. I won't be able to handle it on Monday.
Are you fearful at all of it?
I think he presents the prototype of what the Eagles struggle against.
Mobile
quarterbacks, but can create the big play. Exactly. He's not don't get me wrong. Patrick's the same way, but Josh is looking to run more.
Yeah.
Than Patrick is.
He's another guy you're going to have to get on the ground, man.
So
definitely.
I think, now the other part of it is besides Stephon Diggs, are we really going to allow Gabe Davis or some of the, to pick us apart? Are they going to be able to run with, James Cook and Latavius Murray? Are they going to be able to run the ball? So I think everybody else for me, I think the Eagles have a perfect unit to limit this Bills offense. But for some reason, that turnover-prone quarterback, I can just see giving us issues. We'll talk about it more on Sunday, man, but that's how I feel right now.
And I don't know. There's just something weird about it where he just kind of hasn't had one of those games in a while, right? So it gives you a little bit of a weird feeling, I feel, going into the game. Now, this last game, I guess he had a pretty good game, 275.
Right, against the good defense, too. That's the part where it's all right, let's get Josh back on track.
You know what his ceiling is. His ceiling is that shootout with Kansas City.
His ceiling is 392 passing yards and 3 bombs for touchdowns and 72 rushing yards.
So I think from the Eagles' perspective, you just have to look at it like that's who he is. He's not the 12 interception guy that leads the league in interceptions. He's the guy that can throw for 400, run for 100, and get 4 or 5 touchdowns total.
Correct.
Between the two. That's the way they have to look at it. And once again, it's another totem pole game, right? Are we better than the Bills? Can we just beat the Bills at home? This was a team that was a contender at one point. Some people maybe still view them that way. I don't, but nonetheless, they do have the talent there, right? So I
No, I
think the
feel you,
Eagles
man.
need to look at it like that. It's not the easiest game of the four. It's the next game. That's what it is.
I agree.
That's what it should be to them.
I agree. One game at a time, one play at a time, right? One
Yes,
day
sir.
at a time. So, with that said, guys, that is going to wrap up this Week 12 kickoff show here on DSM Media's NFL Turf Talk YouTube channel. If you guys are new to the channel, if you like the content, whatever, make sure you smash that subscribe button, turn on notifications for whenever we go live or post a video. For myself, for Scotty, hope you had a great Thanksgiving weekend. Enjoy the rest of your day.